Hey, what's cracking? How you doing today? Hope this video finds you doing well, man. Hope you're on top of the world sitting pretty, man. Hope it's all going your way. If it's not, man, you can always drop in and watch one of my videos, see what it could really be like if you screw up and make a mistake, find yourself in prison. And I want to tell you that it's so easy to get there. Usually when something goes wrong in our life, it doesn't just all happen at once because of one thing. Usually it's a series of things that goes wrong that finds us in the worst places. Maybe you're going home from work, you've had a hard day, you're pissed off, you got a gun with you, you can carry it because you never know nowadays the way other people are. And some guy cuts you off, pisses you off, but worse than that, he starts slowing down, flipping you off, telling you to pull over, and maybe you do pull over. Maybe you flashed a gun at him. Maybe you end up, they pull one on you, maybe you end up shooting them. You never know how things can get out of control, a small thing at a time. And it started just from you having a bad day at work. You never intended to pull over and shoot at someone, but you have to defend yourself. But you were never supposed to be pulling that gun. You were never supposed to stop. So then you find yourself getting put in prison. Maybe you drank too many. Went ahead and drank. Maybe it's your second or third offense, and you just go to a minimum. But you get there and you smoke a joint because you're missing home and get a dirty UA, and you find yourself where we're going to go today in this video. And it can happen a step at a time. It doesn't always happen all at once. You don't have to be that bad of a person to find yourself in prison. A lot of people in prison are good people and worthy of a second chance. But there are other people who belong in there, people that I definitely wouldn't want living on the block with my mother. So today I'm going to jump right back into my story in just a moment. If you've never watched before, my name's Ricky Dye. And I went to prison when I was 15 years old for second-degree murder. And I didn't get out until I was 35, almost 36. And I've been making these videos. I start at the beginning. They're like a series. So if you start at the beginning, you'll know everything up to here. And I tell them in chronological order. I try to, but I do jump around, give you extra stories and updates for the channel or whatnot. So if you haven't subscribed and you appreciate that and you like the videos, I appreciate if you subscribe. Hey, man, most guys like me are doing everything they're not supposed to do. You wouldn't want them nowhere around you, but I'm trying to make a difference. So if you appreciate that, hit subscribe. Before I go any further, shout out to the writers and the dyers. I got a new one. Thomas Robbins hit it. It's my homeboy Moose. Thank you, brother. I really appreciate that. But shout out to all the writers and the dyers. Appreciate you guys the most. Thank you for hitting that join button. I have surgery coming up Thursday, but before I do that, I'm going to post a video of my first book reading, and that'll be for everyone, and hopefully that'll get some people to hit join. Now today, I went from Lexington. I went to Crabtree. Now I've got myself in trouble there for selling drugs, and they've shipped me, boom, worst place I ever went besides the Oklahoma State Penitentiary. Besides McAllister, I went to Granite. At the time, Granite, Oklahoma State Reformatory, you can look it up. It's one of the oldest prisons in the state of Oklahoma. They had old old outlaws there like Jesse James, guys like that were in prison back in those days. Were in prison at Granite. And whenever you would be released from Granite back in the old days, they'd give you a saddle, a $50 gold piece, and a rifle, and a horse, and let you go. And they've got it in a museum down there that they gave that to people. I saw it once. So that's pretty cool. Granite was so rough at the time that when you got there, off the bus, they'll take you all to a little room and ask who was willing to go to the yard and who wants to catch out. Because most people are afraid to go on that yard. So they find out right off the bat, do you want to go out on the yard? And they give everyone copies of the paperwork. Because when you get to Granite, you get paperwork checks. As soon as you get there, someone of your race will come to your cell. If you're white, Indian, or Mexican, I can't speak for the blacks, but if you're white, Indian, or Mexican, immediately there'll be 2 or 3 guys of your race, usually 3, come to your cell and check your paperwork. And if you have a sex crime, you get smashed out by all 3 guys right then. They beat you up, you're took to medical, and they don't see you anymore. So usually sex offenders won't even go out on the yard. Guys who have caught out from other yards, they know that if they go out on this yard and people find out, they're not going to have a chance. So they'll refuse to go to the yard. They'll catch out right then. This is going to be a long video because the most afraid that I ever was in prison was in this video. I'm about to tell you a story of the roughest thing that ever happened to me. So if you want to, hey, this one's going to be a little longer. A few of you guys asked for longer videos, and this here is the real deal. It's the most afraid I've ever been in my entire life. And it's not a story I particularly like talking about. And all my nightmares are either right here at this time in Granite or they're in McAllister. I don't have nightmares about any other place, just those. I've stabbed people, and we'll get to those stories. But even those, I don't have nightmares about that the way I did this. So I got to Granite, and they didn't check my paperwork, because if you've been in for quite a few years and you've been to maximum security or several other yards, and people know that you sell weed and this and that, then people don't check your paperwork. That's for people just coming in or people that no one knows. But they brought me into that environment. And I get there, and as soon as I get there, this white guy that I knew from Lexington comes, "Hey, brother, nice to see you." So when you're coming on the yard, people are, all right, so they have 4 units, and each one has a chain link fence around it, okay? The unit consists of 2 buildings. Each has 2 day rooms. That's the way most prisons are set up, okay? I was on, I was on Delta 3. Okay, so you got D1, 2, 3, and 4, and you got A, B, C, and D unit. Okay, that's the medium security yard. A is out by the chow hall. You got to go walk right by A unit to get to visitation, up at master control, up at the head of security up there, main building. Okay, so you got to walk past A to get to D, and beside D, over to the side of C, and off in the corner is B, way back in the back. Okay, the guys I get into it with live on A unit. I live on D unit. So here's the deal, though. There's a chain link fence around your 2 buildings. And there's razor wire at the top of it. And that's to make sure that you can't get contact with anyone who's on another unit. So they were on A and I was on D. So they couldn't immediately get over there to me. And we're going to get to that in a minute. But I lived on Delta 3. Now, just so you know, understand how it is. Delta unit, where I live, is surrounded by chain link fence with razor wire around the top. There's 2 buildings and 2 day rooms. You never see anyone except for during rec. When you get out for rec for 1 hour a day, they pop all the doors on Delta. You can go out in a little yard. There's about a 6-foot gap between the building and the fence. And you got to stay within that, and you can walk around the building and talk. It's about 6 foot between the fence and the building. You can walk around in that. And there's a little area where there's a half-court basketball goal where people hang out mostly. So when they call yard out, people come out of their day rooms out onto that little yard, and that's where everyone hangs out and talks. Okay? And if A unit or C unit out at the same time, sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. They let us out after chow, so it depends on the order you eat chow in. If you can holler and scream at those guys. But if they're out in their little yard and you're in yours, you can holler at each other. Okay? So I live on Delta 3. Now, whenever you're not out on the yard, you only get 1 hour out on the yard. Any other time, unless you're going to chow, because everyone goes and eats. Say they call Delta 3, then Delta 2, then 1, then 4. You go eat in that order. Your day room goes up to the chow hall. They come in behind you, but you got to eat and get out. So you'll see the people who ate right behind you, but not the people who eat last. Unless you catch them on the yard before they run you back in. You don't get long. So you get a few minutes a day after your meal to talk to someone, and then an hour a day. And other than that, you got to go stand. Now, in the middle of these 4 day rooms is a big cubby hole, more or less. I'm not sure what you'd call it, but we call it the cop shack. Is the area up there, and they can walk around inside there, pop buttons to all the doors for all 4 day rooms in both of the buildings. They can see over here, they can see over there, everywhere. So if you're trying to make contact with someone, we all learn sign language, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, the alphabet. And you stand up there and spell things out to each other and set your deals up to see people at chow time or during your hour at rec to make swaps and all this and that. So I get there. Of course, I tell them I want to go to the yard. I get down there on the unit. I'm there for about a month or so, kind of filling things out. And I go to visit. Shelly comes to visit me. For me to go visit there, Granite is way down southwestern, I believe, Oklahoma, or southeastern. It's way down the corner, close to Texas. So it takes her 2.5, 3 hours even to get to me. But she would come and visit me and bring me drugs. Okay? She'd bring me weed. I found me somebody to hand it off to at visit so they can keister it and take it back for me, because I know if I'm the one bringing it in and people find out, they're going to put me in a dry cell. They're going to make me shit in a bucket to see if I've got it. And if I do, I'll get caught. So I can't be the one bringing it in. I got to pay somebody else to keister it back for me. And I get to bringing this weed and stuff in. And I get, because once you start bringing something in, there wasn't very many people getting anything. And everybody knew from when I was at Lexington that I get weed in. I get weed in. Ricky Dye's here. There's going to be some weed. because not very many people get anything at Granite. It's hard to get it in there. It's a very small visiting room. You sit there with your wife, whoever's coming to visit you. You don't get some places have a little outside area at visit where you can go out there and it helps you kind of be a little sneakier and get away with more. But at Granite, they don't have that. There's just a very small visiting room, and there's a guard that sits at a desk right there in the middle of everyone. And they have cameras. It's very difficult to sneak drugs in at Granite. And at Lexington, I had a staff member that worked in the laundry sneaking it in, if you haven't checked out those videos. But here, I didn't have that. So I'm having my visitor bring this stuff up to me. And I'm getting weed in, and there's only a couple other people on the yard that are getting anything. And they live over on B unit. No one's getting anything on C, and no one's getting anything on A, and I'm the only one getting anything on D. And I just got here. So immediately, everybody starts trying to make friends with me. But the thing is, on any yard, if you're getting drugs in a medium or maximum security prison, you have to be hard enough to hold those drugs, because someone will try to take them from you. I've seen someone go up in the cell with 2 knives and throw one on the bed and tell that guy, I came for your dope of your life, and it don't matter to me which. If you want to fight for it, pick that up. And, you know, of course, if he tried to grab it, he was going to stab him before he got a chance, but he just gave his dope up. So people will come at you to take your shit. And when I was at Crabtree, a guy said he was going to take my stuff, and I went out on the backyard with him and laid it down and said, if you can whoop me, you can leave with that. But it's not going to be over should you leave with it. So you have to be willing to go to the killing floor if you're going to sell drugs. But I've got these drugs, and no one has really tried to jam me up. I've got Shithead there. I talked about Shithead when I was in McAllister. I was 18 and he was 19. When I turned 19, he was 20. He's a little about a year older than me. And Shithead, he had a real rough childhood, and he was in McAllister already when I got there. And Shithead had come back to prison and was now at Granite when I got there. Shithead had only had a 4-year sentence the first time, but got so much trouble he got sent to McAllister. And right before he was about to get out, a guy had called him a punk 2 years before that on the run. They were on opposite ends of the run. The guy called, talking shit on the run, called Shithead a punk. And Shithead didn't forget that. It was 2 years later, he couldn't get to him. Now, they took him down to lockup. In lockup, you're literally underground. And they're all single cells in a row, about 8 of them. And Shithead's in one, and then there's 3 people between them, and the other guy's down there. And Shithead starts making friends with him, hollering through the beanholes, telling the guy, hey, buddy, I remember you, and I ain't tripping on that, and acting like they're really good friends. And then he sends notes to the 3 people between them and tells them, don't go to rec, because they would only let 2 of you go at a time. So they didn't go. So Shithead stayed, and he took a pair of toenail clippers and carved him a knife out of his light, broke it, sharpened it, get these 3 not to go, and then him and that guy went to rec. And he's in maximum security, and there's guards watching him, and they're belly shackled and chained, and he's put it in his butt crack and snuck it out there and started stabbing this guy right in front of the police. He stabbed him until his knife was broken. He was done. The guy crawls back over the door. The police wouldn't come in there. They're not going to get stabbed for you, man. They wait until the shit is over. They take the loser to medical and the winner to lockup. But they were already in lockup. Shithead shouldn't have been able to get him, but he did. Right before he went home, took a chance on getting a murder case because the dude called him a punk 2 years before that. And that's how shit goes down. And I'm about to get into it with some guys, and I talked about them in video number 13. And I told you that something bad was going to happen with them later, and that I wanted to bring it up now to show you how things followed you through prison. Why you would never want to go on PC and catch out, thinking that things will be all right. So I told you in video 13, if you haven't watched it, go back and watch it now, because these are the guys I'm going to get into it with. So I'm getting my drugs in, I'm getting in weed, and then this Mexican guy comes to me, and he can get crank. He can get really, really good crank. And in prison, you get $10 for a little chapstick cap full of weed, or 6 of those for $20. But crank, you can get a chapstick cap full of that is worth $250. Or you can make that in 4 piles out of that chapstick cap. Just make an even chapstick cap, then break that into 4 piles, and those are worth $100 a piece. So you can make $1,400 off of a $150 or $200 8 ball. And that's where the money's really at, and that's what everyone really wants, and that's where all the real trouble comes from. When you deal weed, you deal with everybody. You deal with old people, you deal with young people, you deal with blacks, Mexicans, Indians, whites. You deal with everybody when you deal weed and cigarettes. But when you deal meth, you're dealing with the white boys. You're dealing with the Indians and Mexicans, and you're dealing with the killers. You're dealing with the hard ones, the ones who are willing to come stab you and take that shit if they can't afford it. So when you start dealing with that shit, that's when your troubles come. But this guy comes to me and he tells me, man, I can get a whole ounce of it. You'll get a quarter ounce of dope for free if you'll bring this in for me. And man, I'm thinking 2 8-balls, that's enough to make $2,800. That is a lot of money. And I didn't really mess with the stuff. So I had never tried cocaine. I'd only done crank a few times over at Lexington and stuff with Dave. I did it more than a few times, let's say that. But I'd only done it at that one prison, except for trying it once in Coffee and McAllister. But I hadn't done it a lot, and I wasn't really into it, and I didn't really want to do it real bad, the way it got with me later on after I kept messing with it, because it does end up taking control of you. And so I let him talk me into doing this. And I bring it in for him, and it's orange colored. It does great, and everybody's wanting to buy it. He sells all his, and he wants to get some more. And everybody's bought mine. And man, I've made $1,500 or so off this stuff. My lockers are full. I've left out all my buddies. I've got some Mexicans around front. Big old Mexican, 6'6", name's Crow, runs shit. All the Indians look up to him. Probably whoop everybody around there. Him and this other Indian named Honka. Call them the Twin Towers of Pain. One of them 6'5", the other one's 6'6". One of them's name is Honka. That's Indian for big monster. Call him Big Honka. Yeah, so he's a beast, man. And you got Crow running with him, and I'm thinking, man, those guys are in my army. I got them running the store. I bought Crow a pair of shoes for $100 paper. I got my Sally a pair of shoes. All of them running stores for me. People selling weed for me. I got all the white boys doing good. I got some black dudes selling stuff for me. I got the Indians and the Mexicans. I'm bringing in the Mexicans dope, selling stuff, letting the Indians got a store for me. Got them selling stuff, wearing new shoes. Thought I was unfucking touchable for real, man. Ain't nobody fixed step to me. I ain't gonna have no problems. Shithead, he's my best partner there from when we were walls together. We're cell partners. No, he lives right next to me in a cell right next to me now. And they've got my shithead held in their fan. Him and his cellie. His cell don't get in no trouble. He works for the police in their little office. They like him. They don't shake him down. So I got all my shit in his fan. All my weed and my dope. So one day, while I'm at visit, there's these guys over on A Unit. And I talked about them in video number 13. One of them. Okay. So we'll call them Philip and Richard. We'll just call them that. We'll give them names. So Philip was with me at Lexington. Me and him have sat in a cell together. I've sold him dope. I've watched him shoot dope in my cell. We smoked weed together. Me and him was all right. But I always had to keep an eye on him because he's the kind, he robs other inmates all the time. People think that they can trust him, and he'll rob them, pull knives on them. He stabbed a couple people. People know he's crazy. He's doing a life sentence. He ain't getting out. Not ever. And he came in when he was like, say, 16, 17 years old. So he's got a reputation. Now he's done a lot of dope. He's kind of burnt out. Like one day, this guy comes to him and says, I don't know how to work this heroin up. I want to shoot this heroin. I don't know how to work it up. Just show me. I'll give you half of it. Phillips, yeah, man, come on. I'll show you how. So takes him up in the cell, puts shit in a spoon, puts hot water on it, breaks it all down, gets it, draws it all up, and then just shoots it all right in front of the guy. The other dude's like, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Philip shot all his dope, man. He's like, what's up? Pulls his knife out, what's up? So dude don't do nothing. After that, every time that dude gets something, Philip finds out, he goes and takes that shit from that dude. So that's the kind of dude Philip is, man. Okay. Then you got Richard with him. I have never met Richard, but Richard is best friends with Philip. Okay. Now, Richard is one of the guys in video number 13 that tried to say I told on them for beating up my cellie with that lock. I didn't. I didn't even fucking know him. But I did go up there to that cage and tell him, hey, I ain't no rat. I didn't tell on nobody. He said, yeah. Well, you're a killer. You can handle it when we see you. I ain't do shit, man. You know, my cell partner had ratted, told out, got everybody in trouble. People knew that I didn't do it. But this guy's just a mean ass, man. I'm younger than him. He feels he can bully me. So I ain't told on him. Everybody knows I didn't tell on him. But so they called me out to the fence, and they're talking to me, acting like we're all friends, because I knew them from over. I didn't know Richard, but I knew Philip from Lexington. Hey, Ricky, they know I get weed and stuff. And I'm telling my selling them, and I'm never letting them get in debt to me. Here and there, I'll throw them a joint to smoke like we're buddies and shit. But I know I'm never going to let them get in debt to me. Because if someone gets in debt to you, you got to make sure they pay. Because if they don't pay, next thing you know, they'll try to take it because you won't give them no more credit. So I tell my sellers, don't you ever give them no dope. Anybody ever gives me dope, you're collecting it, you don't get nothing else because you're not selling them anything from me where they think they're beating me. You're not going to put me in that position. So I just act like we're buddies, give them a joint here and there. But one day I go to visit. My cell partner is about to get out of prison. Okay, I've been trying to get shithead moved in with me. But right now, my cell partner, I know him from Lexington. He's an older guy. He's about to go home. Okay, he has no heart. He's not a fighter, anything like that. They just let him stay because people like him. He's an older guy. But he comes out there and they say, you got any of that dope? You got any of that dope, man? He ain't got but a couple papers in there, and they're not mine. Man, go in there and get us one of them papers, man. We'll pay it. So they scare him in to giving them one of my papers. So now they owe me $100 because of him or through him. They owe it to him, but it's supposed to come to me, and it's my address and everything. So week or two goes by, no money shows up. Hey, man, you need to go get that money from him. He goes out there. He's scared to even ask them. They're not going to send no money for him. They say they send it. It got lost. Just making up some bullshit. They don't have no intention of sending that money. So one day, finally, I say, man, I guess I'll go out there and ask him for it. So I go out there and, hey, man, what's up on that money, man? Oh, we're going to send it. We're going to send it this week. I said, all right. So here comes that. Now, on Saturday and Sunday, you can visit. On Saturday, I was going to visit my old lady, and this Mexican tells me he's going to get some more dope in. It's supposed to be crank again. Same deal before. I'm going to get a free quarter ounce. We're going to do it on Sunday because I don't want to do it on Saturday, and my wife thinks I'm all high on dope on Sunday, and I know I'm going to end up doing some of it because I can't help myself around all my buddies. They're all doing it, so I know I'll do a little. Then they'll know I'm high. The police, when I go to visit, because you go right around the police. So tell my old lady bring it on Sunday. So I go up visit. On the way back from visit, you have to pass 8 in it. So I'm walking by their fence, and they're out for their hour of rec, and there's Philip and Richard. Hey, man, let me holler at you. Just go over there. Hey, what's up? He said, hey, man, you get that dope in today for that Mexican? Thinking, man, how do they know I'm even... He'd run around telling people he's getting dope, and they all automatically think I'm the one bringing it in. He should have kept his mouth shut. Now, if they know, the police could know. So he already broke the rules. The Mexican has. But I'm like, no, I didn't get none today. And I'm like, you're gonna probably have some tomorrow, man, but you ain't paid that 100 yet, man. Y'all need to send that 100. He's like, oh man, Ricky God, man, don't make us come take all that shit, man. You know what's up. And I was like, no, I know what's up, man. Y'all need to send that 100, man, or I ain't fixing to give y'all no dope. Oh, don't we'll see if we get some. I was like, whatever, man. So I walk off. I got jitters in my stomach because I know, man, there's only 2 other people that get anything over on B unit, and Philip and Richard's got them so scared they send them some automatic. And one dude is so afraid, when he gets his dope, he sends the keister to them. They take what they want out and send him whatever they think they want to give him back. And they cut it with baking soda and ruin it, send him back a little bit, and they keep his dope. But he's afraid of him. And if he quits getting it, they'll smash him. So he's basically doing it to stay there. People do that. They call it paying to stay. Whenever you get your dope, you got to give them some so they don't come take your shit. Pay to stay. That's what they call that. So next day, I get that cocaine. Come back in, have this dude bring it back, go get it from him. I've got weed hidden in the fan, 2 cells down, and shithead cell partner's got his fan 2 cells down from the day before. Go down cell, me and the Mexican, we break it all up. He takes his, he gives me mine, he leaves. So me, shithead's there, one more guy, keeping jigger, he's standing at the door locked, he's got a curtain up in the little window where the guards come and count you. He's watching for the police. If he sees them, he calls Jigger out. That's what they call keeping Jigger. One watching for the police. Jigger out, Jigger's coming, Jigger's on the run. Okay, I got another guy standing over on the corner, so the police can't even come in the day room without me knowing it. Okay, give me time to put everything up. And we decide we're going to try this cocaine. Okay, so try putting some on a joint, smoking a little bit of it, and I snort some of it. And I've never done cocaine before, and it made me so freaking nervous. And I was sitting in there, I was so nervous, I didn't want no one to see me. And about that time, that big Indian crow comes to my window. Hey, Ricky Die, Richard and Philip want to holler at you. I said, man, I'm not coming out there, man. I know what they want. They ain't got nothing coming, man. I'm not coming out there. No, man, you need to come out here right now. This is serious, man. What are you talking about, man? No, man, you need to come out here and holler at them right now, for real. So we've all got that little hour of yard, you know what I'm saying? Fuck, I'm so nervous. I don't want to go out there. I'm fucking all paranoid. But I go out there and I go to the fence and you can holler at each other across the fence. and they're bringing back B unit from Chow. So that's what it was. It wasn't the IRA. We got out to eat, then they got out to eat, C got out to eat, now B's going to eat. So we just got that little time till B's done eating, they'll lock all of us down again. But they're walking B back and forth the yard. The guards walk you the yard and back with shields and beanbag guns and shit. So if you get out of line, you can't do much. It's going to put you on the ground. So during this time, the guards can hear you hollering back and forth. So you have to be careful what you say. So I come out there, and Richard says, "Hey, Ricky Die, you fucking told on me over at Lexington. You got to pay to stay, you ratty motherfucker." I'm like, what? Whoa, where the fuck did that shit come from? Because, man, with this dude, oh my God. So what they're doing is, if they can say I'm a rat, then all these people that are supposed to be my friends, that are supposed to back me, can't back me. I turn around to Crow and I say, "Man, can you believe this shit, dude? There's two of them, I'm by myself. Y'all gonna let this go down like that?" Crow's like, "Look, man, those are good white boys over there. Something turns out that they're telling the truth. I don't believe you're a rat, but something comes out they're telling the truth, and we roll with a rat for dope. So we can't back you." I was like, "Really? Are you serious?" So I've been taking care of all y'all. The new shoes on your feet came from me. Hey, they want us to rob you. You know what I'm saying? But we ain't doing that. I was like, ain't nobody taking shit from me. So I said, "Hey, man, fuck y'all, man. You motherfuckers ain't talking about shit. And if I was a rat, I'd be leaving right now." And then I'm thinking, the police can hear us hollering back and forth. Even the police are afraid of these guys. These guys have got such a reputation that even the police are nervous of them. They get away with shit that other people don't, because the police are scared they might do something to them. They've got these other guys that get dope paying them to stay on the yard, bringing in dope to give them some or else. No, everyone is afraid of these guys. So these white guys now, shit, all these guys are supposed to be my best friends, supposed to have my back. They're fucking afraid of these guys. So they don't want to jump on me, because these guys over here looking at me, they see this long-haired, skinny kid over there. But they haven't been around me like these guys have. See me running up and down the stairs all day. See me doing all those push-ups. They all know they can't whoop me. We've all wrestled and played around the cell. They can't whoop me. Crow and Honka could have whooped me, but the little white guys in my day room can't. So I'm thinking, if these guards hear this shit, they're going to come get me and lock me up. Everybody's going to think I caught out. So I just quit talking and walk off. I go back to my unit. I walk all my units on the back side, turn around and walk around the unit. I walk up, and the first thing I do is go get my dope. So I go over there to get my weed out of that fan, and that papers that I told Joe to put up, that shithead selling, go in there. Joe said, "They're not in there. They've already come and got them." "Who come and got them?" "Shithead come and got them." I said, "Shithead come and got my dope?" "Yeah." So I go, and here he comes. I go around. I'm going to find Shithead. He's come in the day room. He's bent over with his back to me, tying his shoes. So really, he's been over tying his shoes. I walk up behind him, about to take off on him. I said, "You want me to get you now?" And he looks up at me, big surprise in his eyes, and he's like, "Look, Ricky Die, they told me to come around here and take your shit." I said, "You believe what they said?" He said, "I don't believe it. And that's why I want to hear your side first." So we go in the cell. And I said, "You got my dope?" He's like, "Crow's got it." He said, "Crow's got my dope?" So I go to holler out the window, "Crow, try to get my dope," because they're locking the yard down. So he's locked around the other day room. So Crow, because you can holler out my window and see his day room, because it's across from mine. Okay, so it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. He's in 4, I'm in 3. So get Crow. And them shit say, "Hey man, he ain't got it, I got it." We're locked in a cell now. He don't know I got my knife from Joe. I've got it in the back of my shirt. I've done wrapped magazines around me with duct tape and an ace bandage. Put the ace band, I duct tape the magazines together. Then I wrap them around me with ace bandage and put a knife in the back of my thing, and I put a dress shirt on. You could have a Levi's dress shirt. And I hide the fact that I got on armor and a knife. Looks like I don't have shit. But I got armor and a knife. So shit, we're in a cell. I reached by he said, "You got a knife?" I said, "You're damn right I got a knife. You got my dope?" Pull my dope out, hand it to him. He said, "Ricky Die, they told me to come take that. Now I'm going to have to deal with them." It's like, if what they turn out to say is be true, man, it's going to be me and you. If you stand up for yourself, I got your back. Now what the fuck is going on? So we sit down there, and I said, "Shithead, I was with Richard over at fucking Lexington. I know the other guy. Him and his buddy Tim. They went in there and they beat this dude up. It was my cell partner. I just came into prison. I was a fucking Skinner. They moved me in a cell with this dude. As soon as they do, Timmy has me come out because I knew him from I know his family from my childhood home, from my little town. He didn't want me involved, so come out. They smash the dude. He catches out, tells on all of them. They thought there's a chance I could have said something. I go up there and talk to him. Timmy said he knows I didn't, but Richard, being a dick, he's just bullying me. Says we're going to see each other down the road. Now we got over here. I had dope. We was best friends. He's buddies with me. I give him a joint here and there. I wouldn't let him get in debt to me. My cellie let him get in debt. They wouldn't pay. Told me if I pushed it, they were going to take my shit. So now they're trying to put a jacket on me so no one help me so they could take my shit. And I can't believe I've got everybody around here running stores, smoking weed, got everybody eating big canteen, wearing new shoes. Instead of shithead's a fan, I ain't got no friends. So I'm going to tell you what, if I live through this shit, ain't none of y'all got nothing coming from me. And I'm not going nowhere. I don't care if I am by myself. About that time, they called the yard closed, and now it's locked down for count. Now I've got my dope back. Shitheads went to his cell. It's count time. Got my cellie back in there. Originally gave him this, and he is scared to death. He goes home in less than a month. He don't want nothing to do with this. Afraid they're going to kill me in the cell with him. I'm thinking shitheads holding me in the cell so they can come under the fence and get to me. But they haven't come after me yet. They're trying to get those guys on my unit to take my dope and throw it to them. So they lock the yard down, and they have count. After count, there's a little black dude lives in my day room. His name is Rabbit. Comes over to my cell, asks me what's going on. He's been locked up since he's 17 years old, and he's in his 40s, early 40s. Everybody respects this guy. He's gay, and people know he's gay. And he's flirted with me a bunch, but I'm not into that. And as long as people are disrespectful, I don't try to fight with them when they joke with me that I'm good looking. You know what I'm saying? As long as they're respectful and they're just playing, I let the shit go. And he's been selling weed for me. And I made sure that he's got a full locker. He's got a store. He's one of those people that I've been looking out for. I always give some to the blacks so they can sell them to other blacks so they don't have me dealing with a bunch of people at once. If you don't pick someone from each race to sell the weed for you, you got everyone coming to you. And when you have everyone coming to you, the guards notice that because you're in a little area and they watch you all the time. They can tell the difference. So if you get a black guy that's in the Crips and a black guy that's in the Bloods, maybe a Muslim black guy, got them dealing with their people, all them people don't come to you. You just deal with one person. And I did that with every race. And so out of all the other people, now they don't want nothing to do with it. Now they don't want nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? They think I'm fixing to catch out or get hurt, get killed, get stabbed. Everyone's caved to these dudes. Everyone has. Okay? But I'm not caving. I'm not going nowhere. They're going to kill me. Shit, I'm not going nowhere. So Rabbit comes to me. I'm nervous. I'm scared. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm scared to death. I've never been so afraid in my life. I didn't think about catching out, but I was trying to figure out ways to escape and everything else. Anything I could to get away from it. I didn't know what to do. So I devised me a plan. I was going to face up to these guys. I was going to put my magazines and knife on, and I was going to try to crawl under the fence with them. Figured it's 2-on-1. When they come toward me, I was going to try to take off running. And I was going to try to get them strung out where one was closer than the other. And when I did that, I was going to try to stop and try to down one of them to leave it 1-on-1. And if that didn't work and I had my magazines, I was going to try to get them. If that didn't work and they started hurting me, I was going to take off running because I can outrun them both. I'm really athletic, and I've played things. I just know that I'm more athletic than these guys. I'm faster than they are. So I figured if worse comes to worse, I can outrun them. I'll run around to my side, go back under the fence. I'll run in there and lock myself in my cell. And I'll wait till visit, and I'll have my family sneak me a damn gun. So that's what I decided to do. But Rabbit's telling me, man, I'm going to make them dudes apologize to you. I said, man, they just called me a rat in the middle of the yard. They're not going to apologize for shit. Them dudes are going to try to take my dope. They try to get these guys to take it. There ain't nothing getting out of this, man. I'm stabbing them dudes or they are killing me. They cannot call me a rat. I could never have nothing. I sell this shit in here. I'm not standing for that. I'm going to stab those dudes. They are not getting away with talking to me that way. I'm stabbing them. Doesn't matter if they're stabbing me. I'm going to stab them. They're going to apologize to you. So I'm thinking, man, this is terrible. I'm going to get killed in the morning. On the best side, I kill them and I get the rest of my life in prison or death penalty. Shit. Killed somebody when I was 15 years old. They're going to kill me for this. Killed somebody when I was 15. I killed inmates in prison. They're going to kill me. But fuck that. I'm not letting these motherfuckers take my shit. And they ain't going to fucking kill me. Fuck that. So he says, you give me in the morning. Let me go talk to him. He said, I'm going to tell you a secret. You don't repeat it. When them guys were younger in prison, I've had sex with them. They did things they shouldn't have did. I'm going to go tell them they're going to say they're sorry to you in the middle of the yard, not say nothing else to you, or else I'm going to put them out there. I'm going to tell people what they did. I couldn't believe that shit, but I'm thinking, what do I got to lose? So he says, just give me in the morning. He works out in the yard, so he can go to every unit. Give me in the morning. I'm going to go over there and talk to them. They're going to call you out there and apologize when they have rec for y'all at 9 o'clock. They have rec for everyone at 9. They're going to call you out there and apologize in front of everybody. You don't have to worry about it no more. So, you know, when you're in that situation where you're trying to figure out a way to escape, anything, you think you're fixing to get killed in the morning, all your friends back out, I would have bet my life that half of those guys had my back. But whenever that happened, not one of them did. But I get shithead in there and I tell him, what are you going to do? And he says, I'm going to tell you what, man. If you go out there and you stand up to them, I'll stand next to you, be 2 on 2. If you go out there and you don't do nothing to them, then it's me and you. I said, all right, shithead, I respect that. So I put my magazines and my knife on. I'm sitting there in my cell waiting like Rabbit asked me to. He's done went over and talked to him, and he had them. They were going to fucking apologize to me. But while I'm down there waiting on him to call me out to the yard, shithead goes outside. And they ask him, hey, man, what's up? Where's he at? He said, he's down there in the unit. I said, did you get his dope? He said, no, man, he got it first. I said, really? He said, what's he saying over there? And shithead said, he's going to come out here and tell you, Richard, he wants you first for saying it. Philip, he wants you second for backing him up. And they said, oh, really? So now they was going to apologize. Oh, really? Yeah, fuck him then. What we said, that's what's on. That motherfucker's a rat and a bitch, and he's got to pay to stay. So shithead comes around in my window and tells me, Rabbit still ain't made it back over there. I go out there, just like I said, and I stand and say, hey, you motherfuckers, if I die today, I die in a rat. If I was a rat and all that shit like you're saying, I'd have caught out. I would have just paid you like all these other motherfuckers are doing. But I'm not paying you shit. I'll come under this fence with one or both of you right now. And then they say, no, we ain't coming under the fence. You come over here. So now they don't want to come under the fence. They're just talking shit over there on their unit. So I said, I can't. Somebody's got to hold the fence up and you got to crawl under it. So if someone just drops the fence on you, you're stuck. That chain link fence is tight. But 1 or 2 guys, one on each side, they can pull that up and you can crawl under on your belly. And they're supposed to crawl under theirs, and I crawl under mine. And there's a blind spot right there between those units you can get in. And I'm willing to go to that spot with both of them. The shithead's supposed to follow me out there, but I'm not counting on that. So I'm thinking if I get out there and it doesn't work, I'll just run around to the back, get underneath that fence or climb over that shit one way or another and hide in my unit until I can get a gun. So I'll tell you what that part of the plan is in a minute. But go out there, all these Indian guys, everybody else is standing back watching, and these guys start calling me a rat and all this. I tell them I'll come under the fence with one or both of them right now, and they tell me no, come to them. So I said, I'm not going to climb under this fence and then come over there. What, y'all going to hold it up? When I get halfway, you're going to drop it on me and kill me and get away with it? No, I'm not going to let you murder me and beat the charge, but I'll be over here waiting on your bitch ass if I don't see you first. So I ain't gonna stand out here and argue on the yard. I go back in there. I go to my cell. Now all the people are supposed to be my friends. They're not looking at me the same. People I played poker with, whenever I sit and play, used to we sit there and all bullshit and joke. Now they're all acting like this guy might be a rat. You know what I'm saying? Treat me like I should have already done something to these dudes, or it must be true. How the fuck was I supposed to already do something to them? I'm locked over here. I can't do shit to them. So I decide every day they have movement time after lunch. People to go to their job and then come back at 4. So whenever you have movement time, if you're on A, you have to walk right between C, behind D, and then up some stairs in the library. So the library is behind my unit. So they have to walk around my unit down both sides of our little exercise fence to get up to the library. And they do it every day at 12 and 4. So I got to visit, and I tell my visitors, I say, look here, man, I got into it. I've got into it with my own kind. They try to take my dope. Say, I knew we should have been bringing you that shit. It's going to get you killed, blah, blah, blah. It's too late for all that. Too late for all that. You can either do what I'm asking you to do, or you can come see me in the graveyard. My mom started bawling. Didn't have my mom do the shit, okay? But I press Shelley and I say, you can either come see me in prison or you can not come see me at all. You can go see me at my gravestone. That's what you're going to go see. If we don't do it, I can't win against all of them with a knife against that many people. They got everybody in the yard calling me a rat. You know what I'm saying? Well, not everybody. They're calling me a rat. Everybody's acting like it might be true because I'm not doing nothing. So I want you to bring me a gun. So I had someone that ran a pawn shop, distant family, and he had a little hot over and under Derringer. It only holds two bullets. Had one screw that held the handle to the barrel. Just going to sneak that in with 2 bullets. Put it in a keister. There was no metal detector at Granite. Hand it off like it was dope. Pay the dude some weed. It's going to go in my cell. Put that sumbitch together with my little 2 bullets. Out on a little half-court basketball court. They walk right on both sides of it to get to their work. So I was going to go up there. I was going to wrap it up in my sweatshirt, take it out there and lay it by the pole where the basketball court is, and be standing out there playing basketball like I do all the time when they come by at count time. When they come by, I was going to walk over with my shirt in my hand, call them to the fence. When they walked up talking shit, I was going to shoot each one of them one time, right in the face, run in the unit, take it apart, try to flush it, jump in the shower, and lay down like I was asleep. Whole yard's going to be crazy when them 2 shots go off. Everybody's going to be running and jumping. I'm just going to walk calmly back in there, try to take a shower, change clothes. That was my plan. But this happened. I went out to visit, and I told them I needed that gun on Sunday. I was going to get it on Saturday. And Wednesday, the middle of the week, they were over there huffing paint and glue that they had got somehow from the maintenance guys. And they were over there huffing stuff, and they had a young guy, half Indian, half Mexican, that was hanging out with them. And they got high on huffing that stuff and tried to make him have sex with them. And he refused. So they broke his jaw, and both of them raped him. And they sent both those guys to McAllister for that. Straightway. They didn't stay no time, went straight away. So I didn't never have a chance to get them. And whenever it all was settled at that point, Rabbit had run back and forth all day. And the word was the deal was over. And they wouldn't talk about me, and I wouldn't talk about them. But that just left at me not doing nothing when people called me a rat. So I was going to have to do something to these guys. So years down the line, they moved me to another prison. And I'm going to run into those guys again. And when I do, we'll get back with the story. But as for this story, I found myself alone, utterly. Everyone against me, everyone doubting me. The fact that I went out there and stood up for those guys, and I never backed down, I never ran, I never paid them, I never caught out, did make people respect me because I didn't leave and I didn't give them anything. But the people who were supposed to be my friends, I was never tight friends with again, except for Shithead. We ended up getting close. And I'll talk about that in more of my stories, because this is what happened when I first got to Granite. I just now got there, and we got a ways to go. So I hope to see you in the next story. My name is Ricky Dye. If you haven't ever watched my channel before, man, hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. May God bless, keep and protect you and yours. Shout out one more time to the Ryers and Dyers. Peace out.